In the year 918, the most powerful Viking city in England prepared to surrender. Not to a king, not to an army, but to a woman.
Her name was Æthelflædthe, daughter of Alfred the Great, Lady of the Mercians, and the reason England exists at all.
The woman who would defeat the Vikings was born into chaos. Around the year 870, England was being swallowed. Northumbria had fallen. East Anglia had fallen. The great kingdom of Mercia had been carved apart, its eastern half absorbed into the Danelaw, governed by Norse law and Norse blades. Only Wessex remained, and it held by a single man. Her father, Alfred, King of Wessex. But when Æthelflædthe was around 8 years old, even that final kingdom nearly collapsed. And what happened next changed everything. Guthrum, the great Danish warlord, swept into Wessex and drove Alfred from his own throne. The King of England's last kingdom became a fugitive, hiding in the marshes of Somerset with a handful of loyal men and a kingdom reduced to mud. Alfred did not break. He rebuilt, he rallied, and at the Battle of Edington in 878, he crushed Guthrum so completely that Guthrum submitted, accepted Christian baptism, and withdrew. England had been saved, just barely. And Æthelflædthe had watched it all happen. Her mother was Alswith, a Mercian noblewoman, daughter of Æthelred Mucul, Ealdorman of the Gaini, one of the ancient tribal divisions of Mercia. This made Æthelflædthe half Mercian by blood, a detail that would carry enormous political weight when her time came. She grew up at the court of a man who understood that surviving was not enough. Alfred was already rebuilding, new laws, new schools, new fortifications. He was teaching her, though she may not have known it, exactly what a kingdom required to endure.
In the late 880s, Alfred made a calculation. Mercia, fractured, weakened, caught between Wessex and the Danelaw, needed binding to his cause, and he had an instrument ready. He sent Æthelflædthe north to Æthelred, Lord of the Mercians, a nobleman significantly older than her, who controlled what remained of western Mercia under Alfred's broader authority. It was not a romantic arrangement. It was a transaction. Alfred had sent them a princess, but what the Mercians received was something else. Because what happened inside that marriage, what Æthelflædthe became within it, was something no one had planned. Together, Æthelflædthe and Æthelred granted privileges to the churches and abbeys that shaped Mercian public life. They presided over councils, they administered justice, they made alliances with the Welsh kingdoms on Mercia's western border, quiet, strategic diplomacy that kept the flanks secure. But then, sometime in the years after 890, Æthelred's health began to fail. Gradually, almost without announcement, Æthelflædthe took over. She began presiding over courts, signing treaties, administering correspondence. The ealdormen of Mercia noticed. They assessed her, they tested her, and then, one by one, they swore allegiance to her. Not because they had to, because she had proven she was better at governing than anyone else available. When Æthelred died in 911, the transition was seamless. Æthelflædthe became Lady of the Mercians, the only female ruler of an independent Anglo-Saxon kingdom ever recorded. In an era with no framework for what she was, she simply stepped into the position and made it her own. Most rulers confronted with Viking invasion prepared armies. Æthelflædthe prepared the land itself. Within 9 years of taking power, fortified towns began appearing across Mercia like iron nails hammered into the earth. Tamworth, Stafford, Warwick, Hereford, Shrewsbury. At least 10 burghs, fortified settlements built or significantly strengthened under her direct authority between 912 and 917. Each burgh had a dual purpose: a refuge for the surrounding population in times of attack, and a forward base from which to strike back. The Vikings, who had spent decades burning English towns, now found walls waiting for them. She managed people with the same precision she managed stone. When Viking settlers expelled from Ireland began drifting towards Mercia's borders in the early 910s, Æthelflædthe did not send armies to meet them. She offered land inside Mercia, under her watch, where their numbers in supply lines could be monitored in detail. It looked like welcome. It was surveillance. When those same settlers attacked Chester, they found a city already prepared. The assault broke against walls that had been fortified precisely because Æthelflædthe had calculated the threat months in advance. The attack failed. She had anticipated it. But this was still only preparation, because 3 Viking kings commanding a combined army were already on the move. In 910, the Viking kings of Northumbria decided Mercia had grown too strong. 3 co-rulers, Eowils, Halfdan, and Ivar, assembled a great host and sent it south along the River Severn, directly into Mercian heartlands. They burned, they plundered, they took what they could carry. Then they turned north for home. They did not know what was waiting for them. Æthelflædthe had known the route they would take. She knew how long they had been raiding. She knew when they would move to leave. And she had already closed the road home. When the Viking army reached Tettenhall in Staffordshire, the road north was no longer open. The armies of Mercia and Wessex, her warriors, and her brother Edward's were positioned and waiting. The trap had closed. What followed was recorded in the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle with unusual directness. The Chronicle records a slaughter. Eowils, Halfdan, and Ivar, 3 Viking kings of Northumbria, were killed on the field. The host that had come to terrorize Mercia was destroyed. It was the most decisive English victory over the Danes in a generation. Viking military power in Northumbria was broken. Permanently. They would never again launch a major offensive into Mercia. Tettenhall was not the end of the war, but it was the moment the war changed direction. The question now was whether Æthelflædthe could press that advantage and do something no English ruler had managed in decades: take back the Danelaw. With Northumbrian Viking power broken at Tettenhall, Æthelflædthe fixed her attention on the 5 boroughs: Derby, Leicester, Lincoln, Nottingham, and Stamford. These were not just towns, they were the administrative spine of Danish England. Taking them meant dismantling Viking governance from the inside. She started with Derby. In 917, her forces stormed it. The assault succeeded, but at a cost. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicle records that 4 of her thanes were killed inside the gates. She did not stop. Derby was the first of the 5 boroughs to fall to English forces. It was the breach in the wall, and once breached, the rest began to crumble. Leicester followed in early 918. The Viking garrison submitted without a siege. Her reputation had preceded her armies. Across the east, Danish-held territories began to submit to her authority. The calculation that had kept them loyal to the Danelaw for 50 years had shifted. Then came the message from York. York, the jewel of the Danelaw, under Viking control since 866, the city the Danes had held for over 50 years and never once surrendered. York sent messengers. They were prepared to submit, to pledge loyalty, to acknowledge her as their overlord, the woman whose father had once hidden in a swamp while England burned. The greatest Viking stronghold in England was ready to kneel. All she had to do was accept. She never received York's submission. On the June 12, 918, weeks after Leicester fell, months before York's formal surrender, Æthelflædthe died at Tamworth. She was approximately 48 years old. The cause is unrecorded. She died within reach of completing everything: the final conquest, the final submission, the final piece of her father's dream. She was succeeded as Lady of the Mercians by her daughter, Ælfwine, but Edward moved quickly. Within months, he had deposed Ælfwine and absorbed Mercia into his own kingdom. The independent Mercia that Æthelflædthe had built, defended, and transformed was gone. York submitted to Edward shortly after. The dream she had all but completed was completed by someone else. But the burrs remained. The campaigns she had run remained. Derby, Leicester, the submission of the Eastern Danes, her work survived her. Edward completed the conquest of the southern Danelaw. His son Æthelstan went further. In 927, Æthelstan was proclaimed the first king of all England, the unified kingdom Alfred had dreamed of and Æthelflædthe had built toward, finished on the foundations she had laid. History remembers kings, the men who wore crowns, led charges, signed their names to treaties that shaped nations. Æthelflædthe wore no crown. In an age ruled by swords, she ruled by strategy. In an age of burning, she built. In an age with no category for what she was, she simply governed, and governed better than almost any man of her era. She broke the Danelaw. She built a kingdom. She made England possible. The warrior lady of the Mercians, Æthelflædthe. Remember her name. If this story deserves to be heard, make sure someone else hears it. Share this video, and if you want more history the textbooks buried, subscribe to Sinister Archive. I'll see you in the dark.